gentlemen. Hope you're having a wonderful day. I'm walking in the rain. It's about 60 degrees. Wet. I'm wearing a chest-mounted camera, so I don't have to carry it. It also keeps the lens a little drier because of the visor of my hat. And on top of that, I should explain to you that a lot of times water gets in the microphone hole. It's a waterproof camera, but water gets in the mic hole, and it will literally sound like I'm talking underwater. I apologize for that ahead of time. That's the nature of the thing. So if you hear that funny noise, that's what that is. It was monsooning a few minutes ago. It's raining now, but it was raining a lot harder a few minutes ago. And that may happen again. If it does, I'm wearing a raincoat. We will survive. It's not cold. Underneath the raincoat, I am wearing a long sleeve thermal shirt with a t-shirt on top. Right now it's starting to rain a little harder. And it's definitely fall. This is very much needed rain for us. Very needed, actually. So I'm going to do a basic 5-miler today. It's not a good day to walk 6 miles. From my knees down, I'll be soaked by the end of this walk. Maybe a little bit that runs down the back of my neck. Also walk a little bit faster when it's raining or windy or cold, and also have the chest mounted camera, like a body cam like the officers wear, is what it amounts to, sort of. So I may get this walk in today in about an hour and 20 to an hour and 30. Or less, maybe. It's kind of funny when I walk in the rain like this, because if I'm on the other side of the street, a lot of times somebody will stop asking me if I need a ride. And there's still some nice people. It's nice when they do that, but at the same time, they could be picking up a serial killer, or I could be getting a ride from somebody that's a serial killer. Do we really know these days? Today I'm wearing a pair of leather sneakers that fit me loose. Logic being that my feet are going to get thoroughly soaked, and then I'm going to dry these out in front of the heating vent, and that should shrink the leather. We'll see if that works. Leaves look pretty. Thanks. Somebody pulling over up ahead. Bet you they were going to ask me for a ride, or they're texting somebody. I'll know if they turn around and come back this way. Who would possibly, what kind of moron would be out here in the rain walking of his own volition? You tell me that. I have been called an idiot for walking in the rain, which is okay. I actually don't mind it. Wouldn't mind walking in the snow either. The roads were clear, sidewalks were clear, but that's, you know, it's not the case most of the time. And what you need to understand, if you're not used to icy sidewalks, we've got a big heavy wind coming here. If you're not used to icy sidewalks, if you're walking on an icy sidewalk and it's lightly snowing out, that snow lands on the ice. And the same thing could happen with water if it warms up and you get a few like raindrops or no raindrops, just warming up. The ice gets soft, it becomes very slippery. Extremely slippery. Kind of like those bowling games where you would put that granulated stuff on there to help the metal disc slide better for electronic bowling. As soon as you step on that with a light coating of snow on it, same thing. Your feet will come right out from under you. So that's why I really don't walk much in the wintertime unless the sidewalks are clear, or mostly clear, and it's not 10 degrees out. I'm not walking in 10 degrees. My body can take a break for a couple months, 3 months of not walking very much until spring. It's not really enough time to gain weight. Maybe a couple of pounds, literally, maybe 5 pounds. The most I have gained in an off season. I think when I started walking this year, I was 233, 234, maybe 237. And so since spring, I've lost between 6 and 10 pounds. And you can weigh 5 pounds more at night before you go to bed. So it's not a big deal. It's not a big deal. And after a few walks, that comes off anyway. So it's always interesting walking in the rain because I don't know what parts of my video are going to have rain droplets on the camera.
1 mile. Time 18 minutes.
It is a waterproof camera, so I don't have to worry about that at all. But it's just a visual and the audio hole getting plugged up. You don't want your noise holes plugged up, folks. Normally I would go left and do the 6 mile. Today I'm gonna go straight. Thanks. Do the shorter route. It'll be about 5.17 to 5.25. Well, this tree looks nice. So if you have caught any of the Fox Weather Channel, they had a piece yesterday about the weather in New England and the foliage, and how the foliage has been delayed this year and somewhat diminished in some spots, which includes Maine. Then they said we had a little bit of rain, and now there seems to be a spurt of color exploding. And that's true. It looks like it, as you can see. So we have some trees that are defoliating early, and they were kind of dull. We have some that are nice and bright. Then we have other ones that are kind of on schedule, but they bloomed late, but they're on schedule with regard to how they're supposed to look. So it's a mix. Still nice to look at, regardless, as you can see. You see all those trees in the back there. Those look nice. Got nice oranges, and the sun's not even out today and they're bright. I'll turn up here so you can get a look. Because you're mounted to my chest, the only way you can turn the camera is to turn my whole body. See, look at that. That's pretty nice, I think. So I was watching DHS Secretary Kristi Noem today. She did a 1 hour or so, or less, press briefing. She did 2 today, actually. Talking about what they're doing, how things are going. Things are going well. Trump had the Prime Minister of Australia in cabinet meeting today. Excuse me. So that was interesting as well. We passed the red tree. President Trump was asked about China because they're dealing with Australia. Australia is here today looking for security guarantees, which they know they'll have with China if China does anything aggressive in that area, especially with regard to Taiwan, which Taiwan isn't close to Australia. It's very close to China. Very close. Look at it on the map. A lot of people assume it's out in the middle of the Pacific somewhere. No, it's right off their coast. And they want it back. Trump said that's not going to happen. He goes, I'm sure it's the apple of Xi's eye, but we have the most powerful military in the world. And we know what we're doing. That would be unwise. And so the Prime Minister of Australia was here basically to secure many jet fighters, because you have to understand Australia is a big giant island, more or less, and they absolutely have to have air power for their defense. Thanks. Thank you. So they have to have that. And they also need submarines. And Trump said they were also buying this modern age docking stuff that they have that will really facilitate submarines better than ever before. Not Trump saying that, like never before, like he always says. This is actually the best stuff that has ever been made for that purpose. So that includes contracts for parts, servicing, and everybody wants to pay the United States for our stuff. I don't know how much of a discount they're going to get because they're an ally with regard to jet fighter parts and submarine maintenance and all that stuff. It's all top secret stuff. I don't know how much of it we do for them. But it's unfortunately necessary, because if you've watched my walks for a long time, China's history is a history of warfare. The left likes to say that's the opposite, because they like defending anything. They like to go the opposite of anything that conservatives say, just as a knee-jerk reaction. But the simple fact of the matter is, it was China that jumped in on behalf of North Korea in the Korean War. It was China that facilitated a lot of the weaponry for North Vietnam. So, and Russia too. So we know who our enemies are, and China is not a friend. Period. People got caught up in the 1970s and 80s, selling us out to China, especially in the 90s. Both parties, unfortunately. So that was a mistake. That was stupid. People were greedy, wanted to get rich, and they did get rich. They got very rich. They were still doing it. They're still doing it today. These windmills and solar panels are made in China, and a lot of these politicians invested in that. Insider trading is called, and they're very wealthy. But they sold us out. That hurts our country very badly, might add. So now we're trying to clean that up and fix that, and they're bucking the system. And they're bucking it. A lot of Republicans are waiting for Donald Trump to get out of the way. And what really bothers me is the next candidate for Republicans has to be somebody that's not part of the system. And that's going to be very important, and I'm not completely sold on DeSantis with that yet. So he didn't look good when he was looking for money to go against Trump. He was taking anti-Trumper money, so he was selling us out. And for that reason, I am not going to support DeSantis, even though he's great for Florida. That's one thing I liked about Trump. He raised his own money for the most part. Somebody like DeSantis can't do that. And they will lawfare him. Democrats will lawfare the next Republican candidate, and they're not going to have the money to fight back. That worries me with DeSantis. So, just my thoughts on it. Could be wrong. Could be wrong. Wouldn't be the first time. So what worries me more is remember that guy that had the red, white, and blue buffalo hat with the horns that was in the Capitol? They locked him up. Chansley, I think his name is. He's bad-mouthing Trump today, saying that Trump just used them to get elected. I was like, no. That's not what happened. President Trump, while he was being prosecuted, not Chansley, while President Trump was being prosecuted, one of the reasons why they were trying to lock Trump up for life is he was the only one sticking up for January 6ers, besides Marjorie Taylor Greene, basically, and a small handful of Republicans. These people are free today because Trump pardoned them. And the J6ers have won their case, it looks like, on the DOJ has found that they were illegally prosecuted and violated their constitutional rights. And these people are going to have a court hearing in a couple of months to completely expunge their charges. So they will no longer be convicted felons because the DOJ used a loophole law. They were never charged with insurrection. None of them were charged with insurrection. It's very important to understand that. The media narrative and the Democrats keep calling it an insurrection, and it wasn't. It was a riot. Most of those people should have got a misdemeanor trespass summons, $500 fine, whatever. Should have been a misdemeanor. But no, they took people, locked them up, gave them 20 years, 30-year sentences with a loophole law, maximum sentences to make an example of them. Maybe the judges honestly believed it was insurrection. I don't know. A lot of these liberal leftists believe a lot of things.
Distance 2 miles.
And I think in a lot of cases, they may actually believe that. They have Trump derangement syndrome, for one thing. That's the main cause of it. And so a lot of these people technically broke the law. Trespassing should have been misdemeanor offenses. The ones that damaged property should have been federal charges for damaging property, government property. And the ones that assaulted people should get what they get. So, you know, you can't talk in defense of anybody of J6 without somebody on the left saying, so you're saying it's okay to assault police officers? No. You could wait until I'm done talking so you know what you're actually replying to. Not saying that at all. Anybody assaulting a police officer, regardless of party affiliation, there's no excuse for that. It was a riot, is my point, not an insurrection. Yeah, there were a couple of idiots in tech gear that had zip ties threatening to zip tie Nancy Pelosi, but you have lunatics like that on all sides. Look at the guy at the No Kings protest this weekend, standing out there telling people to get a gun. That's what he told people. And to use it on ICE. This is what he said, not what I say. No violence ever. Don't ever, ever resort to violence. I'm just telling you the hypocrisy of the left. They have their lunatics, and we have our people that go a little too far. But we have to be honest and fair about it. They didn't represent the 1 million people that were there on January 6th. It was a small handful out of 1 million people. But they made the most noise, and they're the ones that got on film on the media who focused just on that. They didn't focus on the 998,000 people that either went home or didn't participate. They focused on the 2,000 that were there doing that. And the January 6th committee omitted testimony from people that were there that were influential conservatives, telling them that this is a trap, stop this and go home, this is not what we're about. They omitted all that testimony and film footage, and the Republicans are going to have a committee on that, and we're going to get to see that and hear all that stuff. They've already started some of it, but Congress is out of session right now, so you know, you see the Democrats complaining about Hegseth blowing up drug boats. Pete Hegseth says they have the surveillance and intel proof that they are drug boats. And the Democrats are saying, no, you don't, no, you know, but there's no committee hearings because Congress is shut down. The government shut down. So they can open the government. And to be clear, the Republicans recently, before Congress shut down, released a bunch of the Epstein files from the Epstein estate and all that stuff. And there's more stuff that's going to be released. You got to protect the identity of the victims. A book is coming out by one of the chief people that was abused by Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. There's no reference in that book of Trump. The Democrats just think they have this golden nugget they're going to use. Wow, look at all these osprey. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. You know what they're doing? I'm just gonna guess, okay, because I don't know, but to me, look at them. They're all circling, waiting to pounce on something to eat. What's it doing today that it hasn't done in a while? It's raining. So all these little animals that haven't had water are gonna be looking for water to drink or food to eat. And these guys are out here waiting for them. Look at them all. Isn't that interesting? All those little critters are going to have to come out because they have to drink water. They're going to get picked off. Birds of prey, my friends, birds of prey. I never see more than 1 or 2. And we just saw at least a dozen. They know it's feeding time. Feeding time at the zoo, my friends. That's just my hypothesis on that. I'm not an expert. I have no idea. But I do know when I see things I usually don't see. There's a very wet girl on a bicycle. Somebody as stupid as me to be out here when it's raining. Really fast.
43 minutes, 44 seconds.
That's the tree I was waiting for. Looks nice. It's got a lot less leaves in it than it usually does because of the drought, but those are turning nice. All right, we'll take it. Just took a while this year, and now they're going to blow up all at once and be gone in a week. Nice tree. One of my favorite ones. Just a little thin. It's a little thin up top, like everybody our age. Or most people. I've noticed that my hair falls out when I'm low on iron. Actually, at an alarming rate. Like, where is all this hair coming from? For being anemic. Iron deficiency. As soon as I start taking iron, that stops. So. Well, I hope you enjoy these videos. It's pretty foliage. They are doing what they're supposed to now. And a late start. A mixed start, I should say. Depends on the species, the age of the tree. This year, usually that doesn't matter so much, but this one up ahead here on the right still has a lot of green towards the bottom, but that one's turning. It's starting to look nice. So that was the word that the Fox Weather Channel used, that the foliage this year was muted. That's a good way to put it. Then you see a tree like that, that looks normal, it's full. Another week from now, that's going to look really pretty, maybe sooner. Then you get this one up here on the right. It's almost naked. Doesn't look very nice. Doesn't look healthy at all. So I don't know what species of tree that is, but there's different species of maple too. That looks like everything just turned brown and went to crap. That's a maple. According to the leaves, unless the Canadians put the wrong leaf on their flag, which I don't think so. Picking up again. vehicle in the driveway there, so I'm going to cross over here so they don't back out on me. Gotta look both ways before crossing the street. I don't want Mom to get mad at me.
Distance 3 miles. Time 51 minutes 56 seconds.
Just hit the 3 mile mark. I look at it this way, my friends. There are some people that walk in the rain, and there are some people that survive the zombie apocalypse because they walk in the rain. You catch my meaning. Yeah, if something like a zombie apocalypse happened, the government's not going to come to help you. You're not going to be saved. It's just going to be you. And the worst thing you can do is take the government's advice of staying in your home and taking shelter. Once it is apparent that is a widespread problem that's getting out of control, it's not going to help you. Now, if the government isolates a pocket and it's regional, then you just survive until they show up to clean up. But if it's national, nobody's coming to help you. The local police department's not going to help you either. God bless these guys, but you know, they have wives and children also, and that's who they're going to protect. So a lot of people would be on their own. I know it might be a depressing thought to think about. Probably never happen, especially a zombie apocalypse. But some other sort of apocalypse could happen, with the likelihood of it being a lot more than a zombie apocalypse. I don't even think these preppers who have spent enormous amounts of money building a bunker, big or small, I don't think that's going to help them either, because if everything goes to hell that bad, eventually they're going to run out of stuff. Eventually, other people trying to survive are going to find what they built and spend their time trying to get in it. Maybe getting some explosives from nearby, blow the door off your thing. I think people's best bet, honestly, would be to head out in the woods and figure out how to shoot deer to live off that. And it would be very tough indeed, but I think that's the only way. And you'd have to be willing to hurt other people out of the necessity to survive, because somebody is going to try to take what you have, because they'll have to. So that would be pretty bad. Let's hope nothing like that ever happens. So I watched a movie last night from 2025, made in the UK, called The Drowned. Could have been a good movie. A lot of the newest thing they're doing now is they're making movies with smaller budgets that have really, really exceptional stories, with some clever directing and editing. It's actually entertaining. So this movie is called The Drowned. It's about four art thieves that pull off a heist. It's a world famous painting done in 1896, which features the Greek god Odysseus or something like that. Probably pronouncing it wrong. Odysseus. About the three sirens, the three women that lure men to their death in the ocean. So that's what the movie's based on. And but like with everything in Europe now that's gone woke, this was a decent movie except for about 5 minutes of it, where they had to show two of the guys that were the main characters making out with each other. They're bisexual. They like women and men. Completely unnecessary for the movie. Obviously, woke agenda to be inclusive. And unfortunately, in the UK these days, you can't make a TV series or a movie made for TV, or a movie for that matter, without having that in it, or you get boycotted. You don't get prime distribution. You don't end up getting streamed on the internet. Basically, you get debanked. You lose money. So the director probably did not want that in there, but he had to put it in there. And they do that with a lot of things in Europe and the UK. More so than here. This is all more of a problem in the UK than it is here and Europe. Because the globalists control Europe. And they run everything. They have the EU. So they basically turned Europe into something like the United States, where now all of these countries are just simply states with a single government called the EU. Now they try to deny that, but that's what it is. Watch what happens when a country in that union, it's called the European Union, okay? We are called the Union in the United States. We're united, a union, a federal republic of states, bound by a constitution and Bill of Rights that all states must adhere to. So Europe is basically the same thing with the European nations. Now Britain left the EU, and the EU tried to make them pay for that dearly. In the old days, there would have been actual warfare preventing them leaving the EU. But that is no longer fashionable. So what they did was they cut off fuel supplies to England, created gas lines, and England has figured it out. These people are horrible. They want to control the whole world. They want a single world government globally, which really befuddles me that they coddle China so much. Because once the EU, if they ever did take over the entire world with a single world government of globalists, they're going to get invaded by China. And they won't be able to stop it. Because the United States is never going to join that to begin with. And we would have to go bail out Europe again. I don't know, maybe I got more of a cynical viewpoint today because it's raining. It's dreary. I just walked through a puddle and felt a whole bunch of cold water rush in on my toes. But I don't think anything I'm saying isn't truthful. I'm sure people have thought about it. I'm sure you've thought about it. Different scenarios, things like this. I always reference that great movie Rollerball, James Caan. It's kind of a heady movie. A lot of people don't get it when they watch it. But it's basically the world has been divided up among 4 corporations. The corporations took over the world. There's a single world government, and the world was split up into four quadrants. And they're using sports to anesthetize a subjugated people who no longer are allowed to think for themselves or do anything for themselves. The government tells them everything they do. What you're going to do for a living, who you're going to marry, how many kids you can have, or if you can even have kids. And they also supply a drug. Everybody takes this recreational drug. It makes everybody happy. They want to have orgies and stuff and live in pleasure. And it's given to them by the government. So as long as they play by the government's rules, you know, especially if you're in the corporate world and you have everything made for you. You have everything. You see some guy that works for the company and you like his wife, you can take his wife. She has to go with you. So that's really what that movie's about. It's about a dystopian future and something like the EU in Europe, or the socialists here in America, getting their way and taking over everything. Look how they demonize the rich. You know, the socialists here, they demonize the rich. You got to tax the rich. The rich, you know, the CEO of an insurance company was assassinated because he was the CEO of an insurance company. They create this sense of entitlement, and then when they finally get power, the very rich, wealthy, and powerful end up running everything. So they use people, useful idiots I call them. Saul Alinsky explained that you take over a country, you have to do it from within, starting with the youth. And you need your quote-unquote useful idiots to spread your message and be activists. Right? A lot of people ask me, how come I don't bring an umbrella when I walk? I have 2 umbrellas. They work fine. I don't walk with them because you have to carry them. And when you carry them, it screws up your walking rhythm. You don't have your arms going. It messes everything up. It's okay if you're standing there waiting for a bus, or waiting in line for something, or you're just walking up the street for some reason. But when you're actually exercising and walking, even just carrying a camera messes up my rhythm somewhat. I have to get used to it. And with an umbrella, because it's top heavy, you're always fighting with it because of wind or whatever. So it's not the same as carrying a selfie stick that's a lot shorter with a lower center of gravity, if you follow what I'm saying. So that's why I don't carry an umbrella. It's also why I just wear a hat when it's raining and I don't wear a hood, because I like to have my peripheral vision. I like to see what's coming. Especially with all these electric cars that you can't hear, which happens often. We've been seeing a lot of that Graham Plattner signs on lawns. Those are traditionally Democrat lawns. They're not putting Janet Mills signs out. The Democratic Party in Maine right now is going through a reckoning, and they're going through that nationally. I think people are tired, fatigued. They have Democrat fatigue, and that's a good thing. Thanks. They have Democrat fatigue. Last election, almost 2 years ago, well, 1 year ago, the Democrats lost seats. So that's something I noticed with electric cars, is they have a manufactured noise in reverse, but as soon as they put it in drive, as we just heard with that Toyota, it's quiet again. So you can hear electric vehicles backing out of something. I think it's actually, I haven't looked it up, but I'm just assuming it would be required that they make noise of some sort, because they all seem to. I've heard enough of them. Finish up the walk, going down this way. I'll turn the camera down and see how much battery I have left. I got enough battery. I got enough battery to finish the walk today. It uses the most battery juice when it's sunny out, constantly adjusting the auto exposure. Because when it's cloudy like this, the battery lasts longer, and it lasts the longest at night. I can do a 5.5 mile walk at night. People having horn wars. Beep at me, huh? Oh yeah? Watch this. I'll beep at you, you son of a bitch. My beep's bigger than your beep. No, it isn't. Listen to my beep. Bigger than yours. I win. Well, pretty good walk today, despite it raining. I'll have some trail mix when I get back. And some carbonated water, water seltzer, sparkling water, as they say. Sparkling. And then I'll have a coffee, shower. Mocking me. We're getting there, friends. Almost there. We are almost there. that look pretty? Look at that. I mean, that just looks nice. Smell the leaves too. Finally have that maple tree smell. And I'm still not seeing the acorns, my friends. I am not seeing acorns. I've got a feeling it's going to be a very long winter for deer. Hate to say it.
Time 1 hour 16 minutes 50 seconds.
It's going to be interesting to see what voter ID does on the ballot. The Secretary of State made sure to list everything that was in the measure with as many words as possible with legal mumbo jumbo to make it a big giant paragraph. And then they stuck voter ID at the end of everything, when the main driver of the measure was voter ID. So they put the making changes to absentee ballots at the beginning of the explanation for it. So they did that to confuse people and to cause them to be confused by it and make it look like we're changing absentee ballots. All the measure does is it removes the ability to call and request a ballot. You have to prove who you are. All of the absentee ballot requests that you do on the internet is not going to change. So there is still absentee ballots, but you can no longer call, because it's suspected that people in the past were calling to request ballots and getting multiple ballots, calling for other people, and no proof of who you were requesting it for. So I think if people take the time to read the measure when they vote, unfortunately a lot of people that go vote in person don't want to take the time to do that. You're already distracted by going there in person. So you may have a different mindset to not read through everything. Now, the Republican Party filed a lawsuit trying to get that changed. It went all the way to the Supreme Court in Maine, and the Supreme Court in Maine upheld it because it doesn't have any false information, but it's worded in a way that most people don't understand the legal mumbo jumbo. And you have people that go vote that don't read too good, quote unquote. Not going to know what they're reading. All they're going to see is it's making changes to the way you vote. Oh, I don't want to do that. What does that mean? Oh, I don't know. I'll just vote against it to be safe. Democrats are dirty tricksters. They really are. Now, in hindsight, you know, we want to see all these things fixed, but we should have just done voter ID, and it should have been the only thing on the ballot. But no, these activists that got the petition, they wanted to add all the other stuff, like, you know, absentee ballots going to incorrect addresses, having to show an ID to get an absentee ballot also, unless you have an exact residence registered with the state, can prove who you are. So, you know, they added too much stuff in it when basically the important thing would have been just voter ID. You need an ID to vote. And then do the other stuff separately later. Because that's what Democrats do. Because they know. That's the problem this is going to have. So if it doesn't pass, it's because of that, or they cheated. And I don't think they were honest in the way they worded it. Supreme Court says it's legal because there's nothing in it that's made up, that's not in the measure. And arguably, people that can't read too good, everything's unfair to people that can't read too well. Technically, right? Wow, look how red that tree looks. That's a lot more red today than it was yesterday. And the sun's not even out. Look at that. We'll walk straight up on it to get a good cam shot. And you can see how vibrant that is. Very nice. So I actually want to go this way. I want to go this way. There's another tree down this way. That way there's no trees. I want to see another tree. We walked through here earlier. It was pouring rain. It was raining buckets. Buckets. Car never moves. Still there. My friends, I'm not going to remove the camera from my harness today. It's soaking wet. It's raining. I just want to get where I'm going. So I will sign off the old-fashioned way without you seeing my face. That's what I used to do all the time. And, you see a nice tree right here. I want you to click like and subscribe. Share the content. Be good to one another. Say a prayer for Trump and the country. God bless America, you and your family. Stay safe, everybody. Thanks for walking with me today. Thank you for walking with J.Beau. We will see you on the next walk, my friends. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. See you soon. See ya.